So, here at the lab today. So, this is the unboxing of the beastly critter. This is the new workstation motherboard. This is all I got so far. But in the unboxing edition of some monster critter like and such, I'm going to take a look at this guy. So, this thing comes pretty power packed, man. Pretty power packed. Looks like an extensive research was done for resets. Take a little closer view of some light here. So these little critters down here. Okay, so these are all pause on-off switches for, there's an IPMI, there's a PSU switch. Okay, these are both manual configs. This one down here's got on-off for 3 of them, 4 of them. Underneath here, you're going to have your brand new Samsung SSIDs and solid states. They're the, I think you can have up to 4. They go pretty much one along here, one along here, one along here, and I believe one up and down here. You can have up to 8 SODIMMs. I think they are packing GDR5, I believe. And then you have the major, so if you have serious SLIs, you're going to run 1, you're going to run 2. They're both going to take up almost 2 to 3 slots of cards unless you're using low profile 80s. And then you have your standard PhysX here. And in the standard PhysX realm, so this board comes top of the line. I believe this one was like 1400 to my location with shipping, because it is not exactly easy to get shipping where I am at. But so other than that, the cooler and Rex tower on this one looks like the pipeline heating is pretty sweet there, you know what I mean? They really kind of spaced a lot of the cooling system here. A lot of the cooling rack has got pretty decent differential space. The only issue so far looking at this is right here to right here. In the front to back of all heating in accordance, the top line, this is going to be, because a video card will run here and push down, run here and push down. You're going to have 3 fans down, 3 fans down, pushing the heat away. And basically, if you reverse your fans, you can pull cold air up and heat dissipates either from the side or out the back. So when you're dealing with this tight of a space, the weird part is the cases for these. I don't know if this is full ATX or extended ATX. This is a giant server board. I don't know if I'm going to build this open air. I have not gotten to my schematic or my theme to it. The good news about the theme is he's got plenty of 4-pin connectors here. You got plenty of fan inserts. So the difference is your top line piping for your fans. I will probably run 3 vacuums, and then I'll probably build a case with 3 vacuums underneath. So it's probably going to have 3 under, pushing air up very quickly, and 3 on top, vacuuming the heat out. So that's just my first addendum on this board. I'll be back later in the series and show you what I got. There's a $500 version that's 5.8, and there's a $700 version that's 6.0 clock. for these processor types. And the latency and the latency resolve of a BIOS is independent for 4K production and actually has a pretty decent static to it. So a lot of these still have the mains. There's your standard, there's your boot up and reset, and then you've also got your mem flash in the back there. So pretty hefty board. I mean, my hands are gigantic and this board still fills. So with some of the recent cards I've seen, they showed me a slot where even in a full ATX, it was out the back door here. You know what I mean? It was just all the way out the back door. So these guys are your new Samsung SSIDs. These things have a really intense frontside buffer, and you can RAID 0 them, I believe. You can RAID 0. So if you have what I call one twisted pair, okay, you do one twisted pair for the size of the first front buffer. And then from that front buffer, that is your headline. So whatever your operating system runs, your operating system is blistering fast. Okay. Operating systems in the software department seem to be doing pretty well at the moment as far as stability. It's mainly the browser consumption that looks kind of funky. Hopefully this year they might release a couple of browsers, and then with Library, that should be a prefab library from Microsoft. So for 4K devices, if you're going to emulate something and you want to draw this little panel here and make it a 3D render on C++, make it an object visible, and if you make a flashlight for it, who knows? If you make a flashlight, put it in 3D, load it up to Library. What that is a composite library of basically a three-dimensional space. So you can take that, throw it in a 4K game, and then you can either freeware it or you can sell it. And that's what makes post-production a sellable product from Microsoft. The engine and the software is going to be taking a bit. We copywrote that yesterday. Basically, I copywrote that yesterday. But anyway, so for the rest of this stuff, we have to take a look at the main adapters here. I don't know if I'm going to do a SATA 6-pack there, but it does have 8 loaded. So it's got 8 SATA 6 gigs loaded. You do have to have some pretty beefy power, though. The beefy power, I'm thinking of ordering a 1600 watt power supply. Here it gives you your basic examples of these things. Let me get my light right. There we go. So that's quite a bit of Molex power. I think you could push it standard with a 1300 watt, but it depends on these guys, because this is just the board. Okay. With the new video cards, okay, if you do a 1200 watt series on these, the problem is you have 1, 2, 3 rails. In the extended series for hot clockers, your top card, since it has the most heat coming up from the bottom, okay, if you do a liquid cooled top card, okay, and a fan cooled bottom card, and then a PhysX low profile card, what that does is your top card has a 12 volt rail, okay, and then 1, 2, 3 for the card. That's 1 fan, 2 fan, 3 fan, okay, and then processor in out. The second card that has fans is 1 plug, 2 plug, 3 plug of these Molex. So that's the shorter 8s or the PCI 6. Okay, so it's either a 6-pin or an 8-pin, but either way, you plug in 3 rails plus 1, even 2 for a liquid cooler on top if you can space it above your RAM. Okay, so if you pull off the top sheath and you liquid cool the GPU, then you have to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on your top card. Then you have 1, 2, 3 on your second card. And then if it's low profile, it doesn't require an extra 12 volt rail. But some of them, if it takes up 1 and a low profile like a Quadro, That's for screen running a screen. If it's low probing, none, which is a blessing to cable management. And then the other one is if it has one, then you're okay. You can kind of leapfrog one. But if not, that's basically 4 rails here and up to 5 rails here on just video cards. Excuse me. So that can be quite a monster of a vehicle, man. And back here, you do have other power and fan supplies to it. You've got plenty of other fan supplies to it. Underneath the back of the boards, you've got plenty of brand new, looks like you got a new series of capacitors there. Okay. You got a brand new series of capacitors. You got sensor switches too, so it looks like you can run a capacity of an external with thermal radar if need be. And it looks like you've even got an insert chip. So looks like you got an MSD1, so you got a micro SD slot just for specifics. My interests peak. So if you've got a micro SD slot, maybe that's a BIOS backup. BIOS backups, yeah, probably. So you got an off-on for the XP1. It's a DMIP, IP fix. So you got an all IP header on that one. You got a couple of new things and a couple of different things, but so that means you could probably backpack from there. I don't know what switches or what that enacts to. We'll figure that out later in the BIOS. And then we've got pretty much your classics there. We got a standard BIOS and clear the CMOS. You got BIOS insert for that. Looks like you got 3-way management for a LAN. And then you've got a 10 gig 1 and a 10 gig 2. Those are teaming. So you got 10 gig 1, 10 gig 2. You're going to have basic housing, so you can have one in, one out. This means you probably run for OS management too, which would be kind of nice. Because if I run a server, I could run the server into here and then out, which is not a bad thing. You got a USB-C, a couple of them. So you got a couple of phone ends. And then you got, looks like brand new USBs. SSC 10s, and then a standard USB. So these would be your keyboards and other things. And then you got high definition audio for the Pro Series. Me, myself, I will probably be using one of these low probies to enact probably an XLR for condenser mic on the back. I'm actually a producer, so condenser mic output. Normally I don't run a condenser mic to 1/4-inch jack. XLR has been a legacy technology, but it nothing has ever really beat XLR as far as just audio quality. For some reason, just that old analog kit just gets it. And you do have, above all else, the tried and true jumper. Bunk, bunk. And that's just standard, pretty much. That's just standard. Other than that, it looks like a fun board. Looks like you might have some interesting things to run into when planning a board like this. It's probably going to be pretty deep to get into. But I got to look at the planning and get it ready to rock.